But the Son of Man, the second coming of Jesus is present. This is him now, here among us. But he didn't allow me to go too far with that kind of teachings while he was present. He told me, he said, you can do that after I'm gone. He said, don't talk too much about me. He says, no, he says, give them a little milk. That's the way he talked all the time. And he never would say anything hardly just direct. He would give it to you in a way that you would have to learn just exactly what he meant by what he said. And so he says, you cannot give babies meat. And I understood what he was referring to. And so he said, give little baby milk. He said, when I'm gone, he said, then you can say whatever you want to about me. And that was about it. And he named all of my family Muhammad.
Where did Farad Muhammad come from? And
he says to me that he had been studying for us what he meant to teach us and to reform us for 42 years, he says to me. And that his father, he says, I should let the world know these things, what he said to me. And as I never have went too much into his birth and into his sayings of what took place, so I am going to tell this. I intend to give a full description of it on the 26th of next month in Chicago. Give it in details. But at this time, I can say this, that he told me that his father wanted a son that would go and search for the lost people of our kind. He said they had it in the Quran, they had it in the Bible, scriptures, that there would be a lost member at the time of the resurrection, and that they had to find that one because it did not give the location. He says his father wanted to make a son that was would be able, pardon my language, to go and search all the civilizations of the earth to locate this people. And when he finds them, he would be able to teach them and make a disciple of his own of them, to teach them, and try and get them together and return them again to their own people. And so he said he was that man, and his father, first child, was a girl. And so he smiled and he said he had to make another try for me. And he said that his father was darker than any of us that he was talking to at the time. So he's a real dark man. He was still alive. And he said, this is the way that this took place. He says, and now, he says, I'm here, and I want you to know, he says, I love you, and my father made me for you, and that we want you to know yourself and put you on to your own kind. And that is what that he taught, and that of us, about our being away from our people, and that we was unqualified now to mix with them because they were Islam people, and we were not, and that we didn't even know who we were. And so that was true, and that was easy to get over to us. And I taken all of this, and I taught my people and been teaching them the same. But I never did go into his birth and how his father trained him and what all he said about that. Because I feared my people would not believe, since that they believe mostly spiritual. God is a spirit or something like that, and is not flesh and blood. He's not visible. And this I'm very slow about getting over to my people, but now they will just have to take it or leave it. These are facts, and this is according to the Bible, that the Son of Man would come, and not a son of a spirit. And this I want to make clear to them and those who believe in the Spirit being God and not man. Main base of it all now is to show forth who is God, and he's not what they has thought he was. That he's in man and man is God. And so that is the way that goes. And in Chicago on the 26th of next month, I will go into details of his birth and his childhood and his manhood, and so forth. Scripture that is relating to this coming of God in man. And the Son there, as the scholars know, it only means the way he has given it to me, that he was born from his father, and to go after the lost found sheep, the Bible call it, and that Jesus made it in beautiful parables, that he will search for the lost sheep and all like that. So it all now has been fulfilled, and this is it now that we are living in. And that my work from him is to teach my people these facts and to reform them and make them what they should be, as they are children, as the Bible teaches from God, but they are lost in evil and practice evil, and that they must now forego evil and accept righteousness, because they are creatures of righteousness.
What happened to Farad Muhammad? Why did he disappear?
Well, that happened like this. After he had given to me what he wanted to give to me as the teachings and the work of preparedness of our people, then it was not necessary for him to remain here among us. So he taken his leave, as it is said in Quran that the people is not worthy that God remain among them, but he makes a messenger of that people, that through that messenger he will reach the people through him. And the Bible is verified the same. And so he left, and that he gave me hint about his return, but now there is just as much prophesied that he will return or he will not return, as there is of his returning. Because the Bible says he will send his angels and they will take care the gathering of his people. I don't expect him to return in person, not like that, because there is too much for us to look forward to that he will not. It is not really necessary if he's going to send his own people, as they refer to angels, to gather the believers of my people It's not necessary.
Where did he go and where is he now?
Well, that is something that we actually cannot say. If one would open up such truth as the truth of God to the people, I do think that he's within his right to stay out of the sight of the people until he has uh, won everything to himself, as the Bible referred for us to it like this, that he's something like a king looking for a kingdom. And that
Assalamu alaikum. Can you all hear me and see me on this great Monday power call morning?
Yes, sir.
All right, brothers and sisters. So we will. This is the first, I guess, official after Ramadan day. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, bear witness there is no God but Allah, who we believe came in the person of Master Father Muhammad. And we thank him for raising up for us the living and exalted Christ, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we thank those two for leaving in our midst a divine warner and guide in the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It's in their three names. I would like to greet you all with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum. Today, we will be starting part one of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaking on food, clothing, and shelter. I was able to be in, well, I was invited yesterday to visit Sister Amanda Seals' event. And man, it was a beautiful event, man. Of course, she does comedy, but it was comedy with truth, though. Not as if, I said that as you can't have truth with comedy, but it had a lot of truth in it. And as she was speaking, man, I heard a lot of points from others, people that were speaking up, because it was like a lot of people was allowed to stand up and kind of get their perspective about what's going on. And a lot of it, man, I could, I'm listening to where the minister has told us some of these things about how the police is being trained by those over in Israel, and some of the tactics that's being used is going to be used and has been used on us, about how what we see overseas, they didn't use it the way that he said it, but the minister said what we see from afar will soon be at our door. But they were saying things like, man, what they're doing overseas, this is training, this is the practice and testing for the type of things that will be brought back here. And they was talking about different places where tanks is being set up, and cop cities are being set up, and they're spending 50 million of the tax dollars on these different police buildings and training, and it's being pushed to the people as these safety. It's for safety. It's for this, and it's for that. But with an alternative motive. And as you just look at it, man, you're like, wow, man, I can recall the minister speaking about something like that with a lecture. So as I'm leaving that last night, man, I'm thinking about what topic we're going to deal with today. I ran across this lecture called Food, Clothing, and Shelter, because this is going to be very important moving forward. We know the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said when he departs, that was 3 trial years. It's going to be some difficult years, man. And as we see things picking up economically, or going down economically, as we see things happening, food, clothing, and shelter is just the necessities. That's the essentials that we are going to need. So I just want to dialogue about this. We may be on this topic, make probably about a few hours, because I got to get out of here before 8 in the morning. But we're going to be on this a couple of days, man. So we're going to listen to part 1. And then, of course, part 2, part 3, however many parts they're taking. And we just kind of give our feedback, just like we was doing in Ramadan, for those who just joined us during Ramadan. It's going to be the same format. Go ahead and go over to www.thepowercall.net to join our actual community. www.thepowercall.net to create your profile and be inside of the actual Power Call community. All right, we're not going to take no more time. Let's listen to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Take notes so that you can share something at the end.
And with the final note, we turn around and we were talking about the key to the city, but we have adopted a new policy just for you that KUCB has offered you the key open for all.
Master Faraj Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever, the long-awaited Mahdi of the Muslims and Messiah of the Christians, who was to come and has come. We thank him for his visit among us and for his raising up in our midst a divine leader, teacher, and guide to lead us in the way of God, that we may be free from 400 years of oppression under the hands of our cruel taskmasters and their children. We thank Allah for Moses and the Torah. We thank him for Jesus and the gospel. We thank him for Muhammad and the Holy Quran. But if I lived to be 1,000, I could never thank Allah enough for raising up in our midst the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to make the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran relevant books for the struggle of black people and oppressed people all over this earth who desire to truly be free. I greet all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language. Assalamu alaikum. To Minister Preston and to the believers here in Des Moines, Iowa, to the reverend clergy and distinguished platform guests, to each and every one of you who took time out of your schedule to be with us today. I cannot begin my lecture without first thanking Minister Preston Muhammad and the brothers and sisters who united with him to make this day possible. He has told me, I don't know how true it is, that there are approximately 18,000 black people in Des Moines. I don't know what the real figure is, but if that's the figure, and you have a little over 1,800 people, then today we will reach 10% of the population of Des Moines, and if one will tell 10, then we will have covered the city by sundown. So, Brother Preston, would you stand, please? Thank you very much for the invitation. Brothers and sisters, let's give Brother Preston final. And of course, to radio station KUCB, our gratitude to you for playing our tapes and giving our message to the people. And to the reverend clergy who are here, we are honored by your presence. And to the members of the Jewish community who are here, we are honored by your presence. This is my first time being in Des Moines, and my second time being in the state of Iowa. I'm beginning to understand why every presidential candidate has to visit Iowa. And Iowa seems to be a great test of the political sagacity or wisdom of those who would run for the highest office of this land. Iowa is a great state with tremendous agriculture and tremendous possibilities. A small population of black people who suffer the same problems that black people suffer in the major cities of this nation. I did not come to Des Moines to exacerbate tensions between black and white, or Jews and blacks, but hopefully to speak a truth that will set our people free. For Jesus said, we shall know the truth, and the truth would make us free. Jesus was telling us that without the truth, we could never be free. That's not just black people, that's white people. That's not just Gentiles, that is Jews. Every human being that walks this earth needs to become a possessor of truth that frees us from the bondage of false ideas and concepts that make us unfit human beings. So truth must come and falsehood must vanish, so that people who have the capacity to be human can at last become human beings. We are not yet human beings. We have the capacity to be human, but to be human means to come into a certain quality of knowledge that gives us the ability to master the flesh and blood and bone that is the housing for the spirit. But if we do not have that kind of knowledge that allows us to master what God has given us as an earthly body, and then we become victims of our color, victims of our sex, victims of our national identity, victims of our particular creed, where we submit our humanity to that which we put above our humanity, which is less than our humanity, then we sink to the level of the beasts of the field. And then we do not justify our existence on the earth, so the God who created us would naturally be displeased with us. So whenever God is displeased, he sends a prophet, he sends a messenger, he sends an apostle, not because things are right, but because things have gone wrong. And all we need do is look at the actions of those of us who claim humanity. And we see that our actions are not the actions of a human being, but our actions are the actions of the lower animals. In fact, the lower animals do not do each other as we do. For the instinct in the lower animal to feed on another animal is what causes one animal to slay another. But we have become shedders of blood for no real justified reason. We destroy each other for no just cause. And therefore God has to intervene in our affairs, lest in our inhumanity we destroy ourselves and the planet. And this we're on the road to doing. So my presence in Des Moines, far from what I am termed, is not to make one of us hate the other, but to make us to know ourselves and others, so that when you know yourself, you can be yourself. When you know others, you can get along better. When you know God and self, you have the best knowledge of all, which should make us able to rise above poverty and want and disease and squalor, to become masters of the circumstances of our lives rather than enslaved by circumstances that each of us has the capacity to overcome. So being here in Des Moines, Iowa, in an audience with Christians and Jews and Catholics and Baptists and Methodists and Muslims of different persuasions, white and black and brown, kind of gives us a chance to express ourselves in a way that you get to know me better. Of course, the black folk that are here, most of them already know Farrakhan. And they know me not as an anti-Semite. They know me not as a hater or a racist. They know me as their brother who stands for justice for them. It's unfortunate that the American public came to know me in a political season when Jesse Jackson was running for the nomination of his party to be the president of the United States of America. That's unfortunate, because politics doesn't bring the best out of us. Politics brings the worst, because people are so concerned about power that they will lie, cheat, steal, malign, even kill one another to either remain in power or get in power. Well, now you can hear me. I don't have notes today. I'm going to speak to you from the heart. And in the short time that we'll be together, you judge me. You pass your judgment. Some of my brothers who are Christians said that if Farrakhan doesn't believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, I won't come to see him. I won't have anything to do with him. My dear, dear Christian brother, that's a silly statement, if you pardon my expression. That is a silly statement, because if I didn't believe in Jesus, you have a duty to introduce me to him. And perhaps if your witness of Jesus was strong enough, I might follow you. But you don't stay away from me because you heard that I don't believe in Jesus, while you have association with people that don't believe in Jesus.
Yes, sir.
But I wonder how much you believe in him. If you really believed in Jesus, what would stop you from coming out to hear man? Jesus wouldn't be afraid to go meet a Muslim.
That's right.
Jesus, if Jesus knew that I were in town, he would be here himself. Why? Because a man of God, from God, baptized in the Spirit of God, knows another one like that. When when Jesus met John the Baptist, John wasn't on the level of Jesus, but Jesus allowed John to baptize him, didn't he? Here was a man that John said he wasn't even worthy to unlace his shoes, but yet Jesus allowed John to baptize him in water. But Jesus knew that water baptism wasn't what he came to do. Jesus didn't come to baptize the people in water. He came to baptize the people in the very spirit and wisdom of God. Because a water baptism won't get you up into oneness with God, but baptizing you with a pure word of God. And the power that is in that word, in the Spirit of God, will make you one with the Father, even as Jesus was one with the Father. So please, those of you who think I don't know Jesus, maybe if you listen to me, you'll find I know him better than you do. Because Jesus was in a similar situation that I'm in a much smaller town, a much smaller country. Jesus did his work in a tiny little state called Palestine that is now called Israel, that was under the influence of the Roman Empire. I am doing my work in the modern Rome itself, the modern Babylon, the modern Egypt, the modern Sodom and Gomorrah. Now tell me that that is not so. America today is similar to the great nations and civilizations of the past that God destroyed. And the great spiritual teachers in America today are warning America that if America does not return to spiritual values, not family values, because you can't have a family without God at the head of that family. If America does not return to spiritual values, to the moral correctness that she is capable of attaining, then America will go the way of all those ancient sister nations that are on the pages of history as a warning for this great nation. Babylon was a great merchant city of great trading prowess. She had a problem. She had slaves in her house that belonged to another people and another God. God had to come and cause some handwriting on her wall in blood to let the kings of Babylon know your kingdom has been weighed in the balance and found wanting. Pharaoh might have been a great king, a powerful man, but he had a problem. He had slaves in his house that he had oppressed for 400 years that were the people of God. Problem, Pharaoh, because God doesn't like ugly. You can't mistreat people who have done you no wrong forever. The people may not be able to extract justice, but God is able anytime he pleases to bring great nations low, as the Bible teaches you. He will exalt the valleys and he will lay the mountains low. This is not talking about valleys and mountains. It's talking about powerful governments and rich and powerful people. God will bring you down in the twinkling of an eye, and the people that you walk on and spit on and think nothing of, that are the valleys between mountain ranges of powerful governments and people, God will exalt the little people. As he said, I will take the bottom rail and I will bring it to the top, and the last shall be first and the first shall be last. These are principles that are in Scripture that we need to now piece apart and look at them and look at America's actions. Do you hate America, Farrakhan? No, this is the only country I know. I'm 400 years removed from Africa. My fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers paid a price. Do you hate America? No. The landscape is beautiful. The cities, the technology is wonderful. It's the humanity of the people that I have a problem with, or the lack of it. It's the suppression of black people. I got a problem with that. I have a problem with the way the Native Americans are being treated. I have a problem with the way poor white people are treated. I have a problem with disinformation and mind manipulation for the purpose of bolstering the power of the rich, to keep the rich in positions of authority and power that they do not deserve to be in. I got a problem with that. I have a problem with people who think they're better simply because they're white. I have a problem with that. I have a problem with an educational system that is based on white supremacy. I have a problem with a social and political system and an economic system that is based on white supremacy. I have a problem with religion, as religion is preached in America, that is based on white supremacy. I got a problem with that. I have a problem in a society that bolsters men and low rates women. I have a problem with that. I don't care what the religion is, Islam, Judaism, Christianity. Anytime a nation will reduce a woman to a piece of flesh, then you have reduced yourself, because no nation can rise any higher than its woman. So Farrakhan, why do you talk all this black stuff if you got a problem with white people who put their color first? What's wrong with you, Mr. Farrakhan? You seem to be on this black kick. You're right about that. But why? I mean, it's so silly for white people to call me a racist. I have no power to segregate you. I have no power to Jim Crow you. You don't find me going downtown stopping any white man from getting a job. Come on. I have no power to guide or misguide policemen. I make no laws. I own no corporations. I'm exploiting nobody, but yet I'm a racist. Why am I a racist? Well, Farrakhan, you're racist because, you see, you talk all that black stuff like black is superior or something. Wait a minute. Let's clear the record. Let's clear the record. If those whites who wish to bolster white people by making white skin the badge of honor and black skin a badge of shame. If they had not done that and made it so effective on my own people that we hate ourselves because of our blackness, because of the kinkiness of our hair, because of our origin, as we think it is our origin, Africa, which it is not our origin, by the way, but I'll say because you think that Africa is your place of origin. No, not so. I'll get to that later on, maybe. It's a place where we predominate, all right. But let's take what they say. It's our place of origin. Just take that. Black folk have never been proud of Africa because you who knew Africa and knew the contributions of Africa to civilization, you hid that from us, and you hid it from your own white children, that they wouldn't have a healthy regard and respect for the black people of this earth, as though we contributed nothing to civilization. You hid that from us and made us hate ourselves. So we are self-destructive. So if you hadn't done that, you present generation whites, not you, you're just as much a victim of this as we are. But many of you know better, but you refuse to do better. And if you know better, you're so afraid of the white people who would prohibit you from doing better, you just leave it alone. So even though you may be good in your own eyes, you do nothing to promote good. So you acquiesce to the power of racism yourself. Now, what Elijah Muhammad was given the job to do, he had to teach black people so that black people would learn how to love self. So we stress black not because we're gonna all of a sudden one day make black the badge of honor. No, righteousness has to be the badge of honor. Whether you're black or white, it's right that we have to promote, not color. But we had to promote black so that our children wouldn't feel ashamed of being what God had made them that they cannot change. So you mistook our teaching black for a rabid racism. No, we don't persecute white people because we love black people. That's not our way. So you misunderstand. We're trying to correct the poison of an American educational, religious, political, and social system and system of justice that has destroyed the minds of millions of our people. That's what we're trying to do. And these that we teach, you look at them. They look different and they act different because they are different. Change has been made here. They will never bother anybody. That's not what they're taught. This Quran, which is the book of scripture of the Muslims, it doesn't tell us to turn the other cheek now. Reverend, I have to say that. The Quran tells us never be the aggressor. Now I like that. Yes, sir. So we're not going to be the aggressor in word or deed. But the Quran says fight with those who fight with you. Now that makes sense. If somebody is going to aggress on us, nature tells us fight back. Isn't that what you've been doing? And isn't that something? America don't like violence. If it's black people all of a sudden becoming violent in their defense, isn't that awful? So they call me a preacher of violence. I have no record of that. None whatsoever. I'm 60 years in this earth. And I have not been arrested for spitting on the sidewalk. Now, how are you going to make me a violent person when those who follow me harm nobody, but we will fight? Make no mistake about that. We will fight. And I believe all black people must learn how to fight with those who fight with us until oppression is repelled. And the world will give us credit, wouldn't they? But look at us. Fear has been bred into us as a people. We shake and quake. We're afraid to tell white folk what we really think. So most of us that get around white people are very deceitful. We smile with them, skin and grin, and then talk about them behind their back. You know you do it. Many of these pastors that accuse me of being anti-Semitic. But if the truth is told, what do you say behind the door? See, I'm not like that. What I got to say, I say it straight to your mug, to your face, looking you in your eyes like a man. And now we got to deal with each other. But I'm not going to tell black people, I hate white people. And then come to your face smiling at you. Yeah. But the time is out for that kind of foolishness. You got to be a man and a woman and stand up for what you believe is right, regardless of the consequence. Stand up like a man and stand up like a woman and tell the world what you think and what you feel. Even if white people don't like what I say, they trust me because they know I'm not going to back down from what I say. No, and I'm not going to apologize for telling the truth. To the members of the Jewish community who are present, I want you to know from my lips, I hate nobody because they're Jewish. That's a terrible thing to put on me, that I would hate somebody because of their faith. Stop it. I believe in the Torah. I can't hate you if you uphold the Torah. You're making me what I have been a victim of. We have been hated because of the color of our skin. You won't ever find a Muslim paint no swastika on a synagogue. We will stop anybody that we see defiling a synagogue. Do you know why? Wherever God's name is remembered, we are told by God and his prophet Muhammad to honor that house. And we will honor your synagogue as we honor our mosque, as we honor the church. That's just not a Muslim. You're just not that kind of people. Well, Farrakhan, listen. Didn't you say that Hitler was a great man? Yes, I said that. Of course I said it. And I wasn't lying. I wasn't trying to promote Hitler. I would be a fool to promote a man who hated blacks as much as he hated Jews. What would I look like standing around praising Hitler, honoring Hitler? Don't make me a little cheap, silly man. I'm a man of great intelligence, if I have to say so myself. I read the dictionary. It's not my language. You all taught it to me. You all took our African language and you gave us English. I'm trying to learn it. And you gave me a Webster's dictionary. You gave me a Roget's thesaurus. You gave me an unabridged dictionary. And you showed me how to read the Oxford dictionary. So great doesn't mean good. Hitler had an impact on the world. Whether you agree with Hitler's philosophy or not, we're not dealing with that. We know his work was evil, but Hitler had an impact on the world so that 40 years after the man is dead, they still are talking about Adolf Hitler. That is greatness. It's not goodness. It is greatness, but it is greatness misused. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, when I said that in a political season, because some Jewish people said that I was a black Hitler. Now, just think about that. A man that never spit on the sidewalk, hasn't been arrested for taking a drink. Nothing. Record clean as a whistle. Because if it wasn't, you would have found it, because you've been looking. You went back in my hometown and dug up all my old friends and all my teachers, white and black. What kind of a student was he? He was wonderful, they said. He's an honor student, very a personable young man, but very firm in his views, all right enough. Very race conscious, but respectful. That's what they say about me. They were right. They say, well, did you have Jewish friends? Certainly I did. I ate in their homes and they ate in mine. We went to music school together. I had a Jewish friend that would not fight. And when other whites would attack him because he was a Jew, I would whoop their backside in defense of him. So don't tell me I have a history of hating Jews. I have Jews that will stand up today that know me. I've never done one evil thing, but if I know the truth, and I tell the truth, don't say that I hate you, say that I know the truth. And I speak the truth regardless of whom or what. That's the kind of man I am. And now that I have learned the history, I refuse to allow Jews or Gentiles, Catholics, Christians or Arabs, to get away with their part in bringing my people into this wretched and shameful condition. And I don't do it to make black people hate Arabs or hate Jews or hate ethnic whites and other Africans who helped bring us into this condition. But since everybody had a hand in bringing us down, then everybody that wants the grace of God should be shown a part to be played in helping the wretched of the earth rise again. That's why I say what I say. So don't put on me that I'm an anti-Semite. That's not true. That's not true. Hitler was great, but he wasn't good. That's what I said. I said he was wickedly great. I spoke the truth. I never called Judaism a gutter religion. Every time they write about me in the paper, they'll say, Farrakhan, that guy that teaches Judaism is a gutter religion and Hitler was a great man. Stop it. You say so many lies you believe your own. I didn't say that. I was speaking of the state of Israel and her mistreatment of the Palestinians. Don't call me anti-Semitic because I disagree with Zionist viewpoints. That's my personal right to disagree with a Zionist point of view. But that doesn't mean I won't come to the synagogue and enjoy Seder with you. It just means I disagree with Zionism in the way that it is practiced. And I made mention that Israel had not had any peace and she would never have any peace as long as the society is structured on evil, injustice, and murder and using God's name as a shield for their dirty religion. I didn't say Judaism. Your religion is not what you talk. Your religion is what you practice. So you can call yourself a Christian. You can call yourself a Jew, and I can call myself a Muslim, but what am I? As a man thinketh and as a man acteth, so is he. The whole world is full of professing righteous people. But what are we practicing? You can't practice thievery, lying, and murder and then call yourself the people of God. What kind of God are you representing? That's what I'm talking about. Do some Muslims practice dirty religion? Come on, Muslims. Let's answer truthfully. Anytime you have oppressed, enslaved, exploit with an imperialistic mentality that you got to make everybody an Arab simply because the prophet of Islam was an Arab and he came to Arabs and the Quran was revealed in Arabic. Don't try to make me an Arab simply because I'm a Muslim. Respect me for what I am and leave me alone. I don't have to dress like you because I'm a Muslim. I don't have to talk like you because I'm a Muslim. That's cultural imperialism, and I reject that. I don't care who practices it. I'm not going to try to make white people black people or brown people yellow people. Whatever God made you, stay there. But truth is truth. And when we learn to accept truth and live by its principles, no matter what our color is, we'll be able to relate better on a scale of humanity. But until we are ready to hear truth, even if that truth pierces, if you were so right, there wouldn't be a need for a judgment. Come on, let's talk now. The Jews have the Torah, and from Genesis to Malachi, it is 66 books, of course, of the Bible, or from Genesis to Revelation, we are faced with judgment and signs of judgment. Well, judgment is not coming because the people are right. Judgment is coming because people have erred from the path of God. Muslims preach judgment. It's in the Quran. I just opened it up. The judgment. I just happened to open the book, and I opened it to the judgment. Well, hell, if we were so right, we wouldn't be worried about a judgment. So Muslims, Christians, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, we all talk about judgment. So somebody has to come in the last days to lay down truth as a criterion to allow us to see where we went wrong so we can measure ourselves up to truth so that we'll be accepted by God in this day of judgment. Make sense? All right, now, so to Jewish people who are present, Christians, blacks, whites who are present, hear me for these next 30 or 40 minutes. And if you can do that and understand me, you won't go away hating me. To call me a black Hitler is to say that I have a mind to put Jewish men, women, and children in a modern oven. That's a horrible thing to say about me. If I were Jewish, listen to me carefully. If I were Jewish, and somebody pointed out somebody and said, that's the new Hitler, as a Jew, I'd be thinking about getting rid of him, because we never want to see a Hitler come up on the earth again to do to any segment of humanity what he did. Right?
That's right.
So what is being said in the Jewish community about Farrakhan would make any sincere young Jew whose parents were victims of the Holocaust hate me and desire my life. And that's why in some cities, when I go to speak, members of the Jewish community will protest, and they'll be saying words like this: who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. Who do you want? Farrakhan. How do you want him? Dead. To me, that's serious. Because if you think that way about Farrakhan, and millions of my people now are growing to love me because they know I'm the last voice that they have that will not bend or bow or compromise. Suppose you kill me accidentally, what do you think black people in America are going to do? You want to see a revolution? You want to see the streets of America bathed in blood? Is that what you want? Because if that's what you want, then kill me and see what happens. I'm not going to run from you. I'll run to you because I know I'll be the last black man that you ever kill. I'm not by myself. There's a God with me. The same God you read about in the Old Testament called the God of Israel. He's not with you today. He's with us. And he's live and powerful. Are you threatening the government of America? I threaten the government of America. Leave me alone if you want to live. Leave me alone. You think you have power. Your power is nothing. We've had many like you before that thought your numbers and your weapons put you in good stead. But the God can destroy you with the weakest of his creatures, drive you to insanity with a gnat, have mosquitoes and boll weevils and whatnot just eat you up and then laugh at you with your power. You got all of these rockets and all of this. You just bring a dust storm. You can't fly your planes. You bring a snowstorm and you can't move your tanks. You send down rain on you in such heavy torrents that he'll flood you out. You can't move on the highways or in the streets. Then he bring a wind on you. This is the God I'm talking about. That will turn your country upside down with several more Andrews that are on the way. The same thing that you read about in your Bible that happened to Pharaoh is now happening to America. There's no power on the earth that can handle America. Russia is gone. So America's saying, I'm the only game in town. I run this show. Watch it, Bush. Watch it, Bush. Pharaoh thought just like you. No, you don't run nothing. Not where God is concerned. If I were not backed by God, I'd be terrified at the things I say and the things I do. No, I believe in God. And I believe in Jesus the Christ. In fact, I don't believe in him, I know him. And that's a big difference. So let's not threaten one another. Let's not say what you're going to do to me. Because I'm not running anywhere. But I got 40 million in America. And a whole lot of them are with me. And they know that Farrakhan will not sell them out. And in the quiet of their home, they listen to my tapes. I never met them before, but they know that the Spirit of God is on this brother. And they know that America wants me dead, but they also know, they have it instinctively, that if anything happens to me, they're going off. That's right. That's right. And it's all right with us, because we don't have nothing to lose. You got a whole country to lose. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Here's America. In the twinkling of an eye, 250,000 people homeless. Think about that. 250,000 human beings who just a few days ago had a home, had money, had jobs, and a wind came in with rain. And in the twinkling of an eye, people are now in America, in Miami, in Florida, and in Louisiana, like they are in Bosnia, like America did the people of Iraq, like America has done to so many other nations. Now another power is on scene. So don't threaten me. Because you can't frighten me with threats. I know you're powerful, and I respect your power, but I know one more powerful. So I will never bow to you and your power. I will bow down to Allah, God alone. He's the power, the real power. So let's not threaten. Let's see what we can do to get along. Now let me just conclude this. This is a political year. Bush and Clinton came to Iowa along with several others, and the race narrowed down to Bush and Clinton. Mr. Ross Perot stood up and struck a deep vein of dissatisfaction in the American people. And many, many white Americans, by the millions, who were disenchanted with the politics of this nation, rose up to come to the side of Ross Perot. Now this should make any intelligent person think, if less than 20% of the electorate involve themselves in the primary process to pick a candidate for the party, don't you realize that the American people are gradually becoming very disenchanted with politics and politicians? That's significant. Ross Perot said it wasn't fun anymore. Now, you don't play with people who hope for change. It's not fun anymore, so I'm getting out of it now. So Mr. Perot is sidelined, and black folk have always got to pick the lesser of two evils. So you're still voting for evil. You haven't gotten to good yet. Now, if we look at the nation, neither Bush nor Clinton had anything to say about the sick condition of the cities until Los Angeles erupted. After Los Angeles erupted, Clinton went out, Bush went out, promises were made. Go to LA today and see what the condition is in the burnt out Los Angeles area. The people are angry and dissatisfied because nothing has been done. And now that the riots are out, or the rebellions are out of the consciousness of the people, neither Bush nor Clinton have made the plight of the cities of America any priority. Now, Iowa, Des Moines may be a lot different than a lot of the other big cities. Because if you have only 18,000 in a city of 500,000, and you don't have a lot of Korean merchants, and you don't have a lot of Arab merchants, but everybody that's providing goods and services for us is Caucasian, or just about. And we are not providing goods and services for ourselves. If we just look at the landscape and ask, what is the future of black people in the present economical, social, and political landscape of America? What is your future? Your population is nearly 40 million. And it continues to increase in spite of birth control, in spite of AIDS, in spite of all the diseases that afflict the black community. Our population is continuously growing. They promised us after slavery 40 acres and a mule. We didn't get the 40 acres, we didn't get the mule. When you release somebody from slavery, you have to show them how to do for themselves. Otherwise, they'll continue to be dependent on their former slave masters. White America said, you're free, black people, but they never showed us how to go for ourselves, how to do for ourselves. So all we could do was turn right back around and go back to the slave master and ask him, could we stay on the plantation? And this is where you are in 1992, still begging white people for a job. Come on. And if white people don't hire us, we accuse them. You're racist. You're evil. But he don't have to hire us. If he creates a job and one of his own ethnic group comes in that needs a job, even if you're more qualified, he may feel disposed to giving that job to a fellow Greek, a fellow Italian, a fellow Jew, maybe not you. So you go out screaming to the high heavens, see, they discriminate, this ain't right. But they allowed us to go to school to get the same education that they receive. Why can't we come out of college, use that knowledge, pool our resources, and create industry and give our own selves a job? Why can't we do that? Is there anything wrong with that? And if we started creating industry, do you realize how that would lift your spirit? When you started hiring your own, giving your own people jobs, do you realize how that would promote self-respect? Because what you own, you'll be concerned about the politics of it. Then you have to be interested in what goes on in the city council. You have to be interested in the laws that are governing the economic development that is going on in your community. So you become politically conscious the moment you have ownership of land and resources. But as long as you are landless, owning nothing but a nation of consumers, you are at the mercy of everybody else. So you think white people are horrible if they don't give you a job, give you a place to stay, take care of you when you're out of work, If they don't do this, they're bad fellas. But at some point, America is going to realize, and is realizing now, that God is curtailing America's riches. This is the greatest country on earth, but she's nearly $4 trillion in debt.
All right, family, that is part one of the message from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. If you have anything that you would like to share on that part one today, go ahead and press the number 3 in the comment section. Go ahead and press the number 3 in the comment section if you wrote down or have anything in your head that stood out for you. Let me get this here together, just in case one of y'all not ready. All right, let me clear my screen here. Press the number 3 if you guys have anything that you would like to. Oh, I didn't know you was here, Sister Randisha. All right, well, I'm going to start with the minister in the beginning. Was speaking about Christians who look at him and say, oh, you don't believe in Jesus, so they walk away. And the minister said, or they say something about, like, walk away and say something about, oh, you don't believe in Jesus. And so the minister responds and says, that's a silly statement. And it's a silly statement because if I didn't believe in Jesus, you have a duty to introduce him to me. And it just makes me think about a couple of years ago, I would see posts like, oh, if you don't believe in this, then I'm going to unfriend you. And my response was, if you don't believe in this, I'm going to friend you. Because if you thinking that way, or if you feeling that way, it's probably due to a lack of knowledge. If you're against something, that's good for you. So just reminded of the right attitude to have as a redeemer. Just because someone doesn't necessarily believe or support a particular message, or maybe they have not even been introduced to it, that is not the time to walk away. That is not the time to say, oh, I ain't messing with them because they ain't got the knowledge like me. No, that is the time as your duty to introduce it to them. So that was one of the first things that I wrote down that stands out for me. Okay, y'all needed somebody to just start the car, huh? Okay, here we go. There go the number 3s. Sister Brianna. Oh, you can't unmute yourself, though. Hold on, give me 1 second. I had to turn it off because people just be coming off mute. Sister Brianna?
There you go. Assalamu alaikum, fine folk. How y'all doing? What you said actually brought something up in me. One of the first things I thought about is when he said, if they call him a new Hitler, then Jews of this day would be scared of him. So it made me think about what we call each other. I was in Cleveland the other day to watch the solar eclipse, and I was going to get my nails done. And this man, it was like one of those places where like everyone just has like a seat, and he was a barber, and his music was just atrocious. B words, right? Naked woman. And I was just like after like 40 minutes of just waiting for my nail tech, I walked out. I'm like, listen to him, I can't even do this anymore. Like, this is making me dumber. So I can't, right? And I was like, man, I'm aware that when I hear stuff like that, to negate it, to say in my head I'm a god, to say in my head something different. But not all of our people are aware like that. So it is our job to help them. One of my friends on Instagram, they posted, how many kids do you want? And they're in the nation. And I know that they meant nothing by it. They probably just wanted to shorten this space. But my response was children, and then I put minimum 3, right? Like, and when we see our brothers and sisters call each other the N-word or B-word, say no, right? Like, correct that in the movement. And I was just speaking to someone the other day about if you don't believe the same thing that someone else believes, and you should be speaking to them. Because if you have a bunch of yes men around you, or only people that agree with you, how can you grow yourself that way? You won't be able to, because you're not even getting any new ideas, any new perspectives. You're only getting on the path that you already know. So that's all we're going to say today. Till next time.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for sharing. Dr. K?
Can you hear me, brother? Okay. Assalamu alaikum. The part that stood out to me, I thought was really interesting, and not that we don't know this, but like when he was talking about at the end, towards the end, where it's like, as Black people, we expect white people to do for us. When he was talking about 40 acres and a mule, and we weren't given that, and how, we expect white people to do for us or to give us a job. And if they don't, we're like discrimination, or even just how we're always, trying to protest and things like that, and we do all these things trying to fit into their system because we're either insecure, afraid to really do for self. So we say, oh, we need to do for self. But then when it's time to do for self, we find all kinds of reasons why we don't. Whether it's fear, or, like I said, being complacent, all of these things, we don't do for self. And like he was saying, like, really, they don't owe us to, I mean, in the sense of, they don't have to give us a job. They have the right to just say, hey, I want to hire someone else, and so, but that means we have to do for self, whether we're afraid or not. And as we always say, we have to step out, ownership. And then even how he said, I know me myself, I always say to people, like, I'm not really into politics or politrics or what all, however we refer to it. But when you do for self, and you're owning things for yourself, it forces you to acquire the knowledge that you don't have, because these are things that we still need to know about. But if you don't do for self and you don't own for self, then you never really acquire the knowledge that helps you to be more, helps you to be stronger, helps you to be more knowledgeable. So again, I thought that was really interesting. And yeah, so assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for sharing. Sister Friend.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning. I just wanted to say something real quick because most of you have hit on it. Brother Ben, just like you said in the beginning, about teaching with Minister Farrakhan saying, well, teach me. And also about the jobs, the white men giving us the jobs and things like that. I just wanted to say real quick, we have to want it. I think a lot of us know what's out there. A lot of us know what we want to do. A lot of us know right from wrong, but we got to want it. And I think that's where some of the issue comes from sometimes. We got to get out there and step out there and get it for ourselves. And once we do that, it feels so good. It feels so good. So we just got to want it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Brother Gerard. Or Gerald.
Yeah,
Gerard.
Gerard. Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Man, the sister actually kind of hit on it in terms of the politics, and I was just sitting here, man, just thinking about like just how the minister kind of just giving us like the roadmap and like just different tools to inspire us in areas that that we lack in, areas that we not interested in. You know what I mean? I never really been a person that like in school or just growing up that really cared about politics, but and especially politics on the like state level, you know what I mean, where you at. But like when you begin to get in business and you begin to do for self, man, it kind of forces you to get involved. It kind of forces you, like even with me starting this platform that I started in Detroit, for music, business, and entertainment and stuff like that. I start to care more about the infrastructure of the city and, what I mean, like protecting artists and knowing that, Detroit is kind of like on the rise again in that area and people is coming in trying to like capitalize off of it. but just being a part of that community and having ownership in that community, it kind of make me want to do the necessary things to, from a political standpoint to kind of help out. So I just wanted to just bear witness to that point. That's all.
Yes, sir. Thank you for sharing that. Brother Jones.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Well, so I wanted to say when the minister was talking about creating industry, first thing I want to say is I bear witness that Brother Ben, you're doing that with the Digital Partners Program, right? Digital real estate is creating industry, and then within creating industry, you're creating jobs and opportunities for people to change their financial reality. So first of all, thank you for that. Second of all, I think that we all have the ability to do that and we should do it. That we put so much weight on this educational system, right? That we don't understand that we are life educated as well. That we put so much weight on having letters behind our names, like a BS degree. And like the minister said, that's exactly what it is, a BS, right? BS degree. That take pride in the life that you lived. And within that life, you've graduated, you've become a life graduate, you've learned something to create industry and you've learned something to create industry and be able to implement that in a way that others haven't learned what you learned. So that is a product within itself. So just we need to take a time and reflect and figure out how do we get to where we are today, because we've all been intuitive, we all have been creative and figuring out a way to make things easier in this world, because nothing came easy for us. So we all had to work for it. So I say that to say, again, let's create industry and let's continue to create our financial freedom.
Praise be to Allah. Man, veggie backing off of that, I must say, I don't know if you guys understand the new offer that I have for my digital real estate program. I just don't know if y'all understand it, but I'm going to explain it. Y'all can you can ignore it if you want. I'm happy to announce that Brother Young Khan Adon in less than about 2 weeks has made already over $7,000 with this new offer. Just saying. So for those who are interested or want to know what I'm talking about, is my digital real estate program shows you how to build a business online, if you got an online service, a brand, or if it ain't even about money, your message. Everything that I do is for even the power call. How I've built the power call literally is done with digital real estate strategies, by the way, just to let you guys know. It's not selling homes online. It's not doing virtual wholesaling physical homes online. That's not what it is. The same way people they tell you to get into physical real estate, and I'll tell you guys how to sign up in just a minute. The same way you get into physical real estate, where they say, well, build something so that you can have something for your family, right? That they can inherit. Well, my thought process is, okay, what about digital? Digitally, you can have residual income. Digitally, you can have people that's literally able to, even after you're dead, look at your videos, look at some of your archives, and literally learn from the value that you have on the internet. And so with my new digital income partner program, you not only get access to that curriculum that will help you if you have a business, help you if you have a message, help you if you have a brand, but you can earn while you learn, meaning that you can resell my program that already have hundreds of testimonials and you get 90% of the profits. Also, your funnel is already made for you. Emails already done for you. Graphics already done for you. Customer service already done for you. So it's like buying a business, and literally your first 2 sales, you get all of your money back plus profit. I ain't never put out no offer like that. So, and the price of it is almost more than half of what I released the original program for a couple years ago, because I want to get people in this beta stage to get them the results. Brother Coach Khan, like I said, is already over 7,000. The brother who just spoke, I think he's over. What you over 1,200? I think already. Another brother did 1,200 in one
Yes,
day.
sir.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah, man, that's what we doing, man. And the reason I created this particular program is because many people who came into the program a couple of years ago, they they liked the program, but people who was most successful already had a business or a brand, something to actually provide. A lot of people that was coming in was like, okay, this is great information. I'm learning how you did this. You're giving me the blueprint, but I don't have anything and it may take me too long to build my own. So now I'm like, okay, well, let me just provide you guys with my program, but you get 90% of the profit. So if that's something you're interested in, go to www.drewebinar.com. I got a webinar coming up today where you guys can check it out. And then if you need me to give you a call or you want me to explain it to you, just shoot me a message inside of the Power Call community inside the app, and I can give you a call and explain it to you if that's needed. But check out the webinar first, because I think I explained it pretty good there. All right, let's go to Sister Simone.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
I just wanted to talk about the minister and how he introduced himself during the meeting, and then some of the things that he said relative to who was present. And so I find it odd and strange that, he mentioned that Jews were in the audience, and then constantly has to address that issue of being called an anti-Semite or having anti-Semitic views, but yet he always explains and gives examples of him not being such, and having to still deal with that. And today, I worked for one recently myself, and didn't bother me what his religion was or not, but I noticed that people know you when you don't know them. And there were a couple of occasions when the doctor that I was collaborating with came in and he had mentioned to me, hey, this little Jew is all about this and that. And I had a couple of nurses that worked under me, come in and approach me about it. And I'm saying to myself, does not matter. He's given me a job. And so I am taught to respect all in authority, except that it goes against, my. So a lot of times they know who you are, don't even, and I just find it odd that he would say that they were the audience listening. And I know that there are Jews that he has, are considered his friends or associates, I should say, but there are still so many who still have this propaganda. He is anti-Semitic. And I would like to end on a light note with you, brother, being the minister, to say that he had something in his face like a mug. I thought that was funny. So anyway.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Simone, do you know a brother Rashid?
I do. That's my husband's nephew, so he's my nephew.
Hey, he wanted to know, how did you find out about the Power Call?
For some reason, I always Brother Rashid didn't know. I started watching him almost on anything he does, but I also, like I told you, I just happened to I don't know, and I mean whether I have heard you're out there big, and so one day I was on, and you came up, and you were doing something, and it just sounded profound. So I started with you, but then one day you something, and you have a picture of him with you, and I was like, oh my God, he knows Rashid, and so basically just found you IG, and you posted about the Ramadan meetings. I did that, the Ramadan calls, I did that, and then I came onto the Power Call at the same time.
Wow. Praise be to Allah. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us. Speaking of, you just made me think about something. All right, I need all the event planners. All right, y'all. Y'all know we trying to do this thing for not really for me. Yes, I am turning 30. That's cool or whatever, but it's kind of going to be like our anniversary because we weren't able to do it in March. So it's going to be in June, and it's going to be the launch of the BWF, right? So the event planners, those who good at that type of stuff, I need, I don't know if we need to get a telegram going, whatever the case may be. Give us Sister Randisha, Desiree, Alexis, somebody. We trying to plan this thing so we can get something well ahead of time. The venue that I had in place, They talking about 4,000. I don't know if I can do 4,000 right now. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to do something else. Thinking like maybe like a nice Airbnb or something. But anyways, yeah, I need us to start planning that so we can all meet up in person. We've been thinking about some ideas and stuff like that, but now we just need the event planners to do their event planning. I don't know what all goes into that. Some sister Tripetta said something about florals or something. I'm like, sister, what you talking about? Is it you talking? I didn't know what she was talking about. I don't know nothing about no florals, but she said it got something to do with the event. So I need y'all to put your event minds together and let's collaborate and let's try to get that done so people can get their tickets and stuff like that, okay? So we can meet in person. All right, Sister Bridget. Oh, Sister Bridget, it says she's good at event planning too, right? Sister Bridget, you still there?
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, sir.
Uh-oh, we get to see her today, y'all.
Yes, sir. Okay, so my thing is, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about the Spirit being baptized in the Spirit and not just being physically, not just being physically baptized. So growing up in Christianity, you would witness persons physically baptized, and then that person would go back to their old life, back to smoking, drinking, fornicating. So under the teachings of white theology, I understand nothing growing up in Christianity. I was just going with emotion. I felt like a robot. And it's the same thing with our schools. We just go through the motion. In my own understanding, the theology school teaching is hop, skip, and drum. That's what I understand, because when I'm speaking to my Christian friends, and you show them Matthew, where Jesus, the genealogy of Jesus, and all his bloodline coming from David, they pretend like it's not even there, and it's in the Bible. It's in the Bible where it states about where Jesus coming from, his bloodline. That's what it says, the genealogy of Jesus. So the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is in church now, and he's teaching the truth of the Bible. Because there are 3 sciences we were not taught. And this is what they told us in class in the Nation of Islam. The science of mating, science of business, and the science of warfare. What they're giving us in these white theology schools is crumbs, breadcrumbs. And even with that, because the Black man is God, the Black man and woman is God, and even with the scrums, we still have our brothers and sisters busting up things with scrums. So, all praise is due to Allah for the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, because I don't know if I've said this before, but I never liked school. I stay at the back of the class. I waste time in class. The only time you see me at the front is when it's maths class. Nothing else made sense to me. Even history, when they spoke about what we went through, I said, what the hell? I'm not interested in all of that. Why you want to remember all of that? But coming into the Nation of Islam, when you learn who we are and where they have taken us from, it makes you want to learn. No, I can say reading is fun. I didn't understand it. So, there's work to be done. And all praise is due to Allah for Brother Ben X. he knows what science of business is. And this is a good platform for us to launch. And I do hope, by the permission of Allah, I'll be able to be at this amazing event. But for now, I'm right over here. I might have to take the banana boat over there from Jamaica to get to that event. All praise is due to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, family. And if you don't hear from me, I am on to the next. Yes, family.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, ma'am. What was I going to say? Yeah. If y'all can send that to Sister Randisha, maybe on Telegram, or if not Sister Randisha, somebody, just don't send it to me because I'm gonna be too busy to read it. But somebody gotta read. We gotta get somebody in there that can check it out. But I was also gonna state. Also, I just added something, right? Not only do you get all those things that I just mentioned, but for a one-time payment, it also includes now weekly live coaching. Listen, I don't know where else you can get that at now. You pay one time and you get that weekly live coaching with that now. All right. So just wanted to add that to you. Somebody asked how much space I need. I don't know how many of y'all coming, honestly. I told y'all I'm not good at this event stuff. So I know how many comments and people said I'll come and all that, but I don't know how many people coming. So in my mind, I said, I don't know, maybe 50 to 100. But then Brother Rashid was like, man, you think it's just going to be 100? I was like, well, it may be a couple. I don't know. So I don't know, y'all. I just know it needs to be aesthetically nice because we're gonna be filming. I mean, we're gonna have a good time. I want to do it. Let me get my oh man, I gotta get my charger. This thing is finna die on us. Dang, I gotta run downstairs. But yeah, I don't know how much space I need. It's just something that's got a lot of space, but it looks nice. It gotta look nice. You know what I mean? We gotta get some footage and you know what I mean? I want us to look presentable, have a little table with some food. Gotta have some salmon now with some barbecue sauce. So, gotta have that and, just look really cool, man. So I don't know how much space we need, y'all. I just know maybe 50 to 100 people, maybe. And then, yeah, we need something like that. Do anybody else want to go while I gotta run downstairs to get this charger? Or we can close. I don't see anybody else. I don't see nobody. I don't see no more of the threes. Okay, I don't see no more of the threes. And we got to get to this trading room anyway. So we about to dip. So I thank you all for tuning in today. If you guys want to check out the webinar about the digital real estate income partner, you can become a partner of mine in digital real estate. I really think it's going to be helpful. And you may be wondering, is that for me? If you don't have a business, if you don't have a brand or message you want to push, think like this. Do you know someone who got a brand? Do you know someone who got a message? Do you know someone who got a business that they would like to build online? And if you even know someone, yes, because then you can resell the program yourself. So I got to go. This laptop is about to die. It's on 3%. But I will see you guys, inshallah, tomorrow morning. And again, if you guys have any questions about the program, if you guys want to tap in, ask me some questions, you can hit me inside of the Power Call community and I'll respond throughout the day. All right. Assalamu alaikum, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Is Brother Ben here? Brother Ben. Now, Ben got a heck of a program. A lot of people listening to Brother Ben. And Ben tells them about the minister.